Hello everyone, I'm Ke-Xin Yang. I'm a third-year PhD student in HCII from Carnegie Mellon University. I'll be talking about our first classroom-based prototyping study of dynamically combining individual and collaborative learning. Individual and collaborative learning are both common that probably everyone experienced. In classrooms, the switching between them often happens in a synchronized manner, where everyone will switch at the same time and work on the same content. However, we found that sometimes teachers will team up students to work collaboratively in a very spontaneous way to help out certain students who might be struggling at that moment, which inspire us to study the dynamic combination of the two activities, which we also refer to as dynamic transitions. So what does it mean? Firstly, it means students will transition between individual and collaborative learning activities while using online tutoring software. Secondly, such transitions may happen opportunistically based on the ongoing learning situations, instead of in a very pre-planned way. And thirdly, students' pairing may be done in a self-paced way, which allow them personalized pairing time, collaboration content, and pairing partners. It still remains unknown whether or not dynamic transitions can bring about more learning benefits than the regular pre-planned way of transitions. However, we hypothesize that dynamic transitions may hold potential to bring about better learning outcome and more personalized learning experience. So what does a teacher actually need to do in managing this kind of dynamic transitions? Well, a teacher needs to pay close attention to each student's individual progress to decide when to pair them up, choose when and with whom to pair up students, including what content to assign them. And finally, teachers also need to monitor the collaboration in order to decide when to stop and unpair the students. All of this may happen while they're trying to simultaneously help other students. So you can see that it's a very challenging task, isn't it? Many prior work has built teachers' tools that convey student analytics and help teachers manage and reflect on their teachings. But there hasn't been a technology ecosystem that allows human-AI orchestration of transitioning between individual and collaborative learning in a dynamic way. And also, literature has shown that a combination of individual and collaborative learning is more effective than either mode alone. But there hasn't been studies that actually try out and evaluate technology that supports such a combination in classroom. In our work, we first created a technology ecosystem that can support dynamic transitions. The ecosystem has three components. The first component is a standard equation solving tutoring systems, and it provides step-by-step evaluation, immediate feedback, and on-request customized hints. It also supports knowledge tracing of students' learning and mastery learning. Second component, APTA, is a collaborative learning software of equation solving. In APTA, two students will respectively take the role of solver and tutor. While the solver solves the math problems and can seek help from their partner, the tutor will help the solver through step-by-step evaluation and feedback via the chat window. The third component is a new teacher-facing orchestration tool named Pair Up. We designed the tool based on constant and iterative feedback from teachers' needs in their daily teaching through human-centered user research, such as interviews, survey, and co-design sessions with teachers. So what are some interesting and new features in this tool? Firstly, in Pair Up, it will display in real time students' knowledge mastery of the given knowledge component based on Bayesian knowledge tracing. And in Pair Up, system will also in real time process students' interaction data and display learning status icon on students' name card, such as whether or not the student is making lots of errors or misusing the software. Another very unique feature of Pair Up is that it tries to leverage AI to facilitate teachers in making educational decisions. Specifically, based on what pairing algorithm that the teacher selects, it will provide AI-based pairing suggestions on whom should be paired up at that time. For example, the pair by different knowledge level pairing policy will suggest partners to maximize the probability that the suggested tutors is able to help the suggested solvers. However, despite the system's suggestions, our prior research has informed us that teachers really cares about still having the final control in classroom decisions. Thus, in our tool, teachers can still override and suggest the suggestions and make final pairing decisions. Teachers can decide which assignments to select and when to pair students or to stop pairing. We try out our systems in a classroom prototyping study. And the goal for this prototyping study is mainly to see whether or not our tools can be adequately support teachers to manage dynamic transitions, as well as whether teachers and students can find such dynamic transition to be desirable and of value. We conducted the in-person classroom study in a suburban public school near Pittsburgh with 5 middle school math teachers and 200 student participants. Afterwards, we conducted teacher interview, student survey, and log data analysis to unpack the process and understand their experiences. In our study, we found that teachers generally find the tools intuitive to use and adequate in supporting them to manage dynamic transitions. We found that teachers like the study experience as it provides them a different way of teaching compared to their regular classroom lecturing. It allows them to monitor and visualize students' real-time progress, as well as allowing them to multitask, especially if those who are using the tools on mobile device. Some teachers mentioned they like the experience as it led them to differentiate learning a little bit better. But there are also some reservation from especially the special education teacher on whether or not their students can focus when switching between activities. We also studied how teachers pair up students and found 2 interesting findings. Firstly, supported by our tool, teachers were generally effective in choosing tutors who have more advanced learning than silver. And secondly, we found that those who the teachers did not pair up actually could use more help. We found that students liked the experience as they could do things on their own, but could also have someone to be partnered with. Students also claimed that the experience is very cool and different from other sites like this. About half of the students find a mix of individual and collaborative learning to be very helpful. And one potential reason that this rate is not higher is that we found students actually want more agency and control in the pairing process, and knowing when and with whom they will be paired with. Most of them also wish that they could have choose their own partner, which was not the case in our current tool. So you might wonder what teachers think about this. Interestingly, while teachers like some student control over when to collaborate, they do not like to give them full control. Most teachers in our study even prefer the students to not know who their partner is because they might not have concerns that revealing student partners' identity will lead to students' social issues, and such as unproductive collaboration if the 2 pair students do not get along. And this point towards a need to allow some student agency without letting the teachers feel that the classroom is out of control. To sum up, in this first prototyping of our technology that supports dynamic transitions, we found that teachers can use the tool autonomously. They're facilitated by the AI system, and they can accept and override the AI's pairing suggestions. Facilitated by our tool, data also shows that teachers can effectively choose more advanced students to be the tutor. We found that teachers see such dynamic transitions to be of pedagogical value, and all participating teachers actually reported likely to use such tools in their future classroom practice. And they feel that classroom management load is similar to their regular load, or even easier if they're using mobile device, as they can just multitask by walking around the classroom while performing pairing using the tools. But we nevertheless found some reservation from the special education teacher. Based on the needs reviewed in this study, one of our ongoing work involved understanding how to balance students' and teachers' preferred level of control, such that we can allow and incorporate more student control without letting teachers feel out of control. And we're also trying to conduct controlled experiment to compare and evaluate learning effect of dynamic transitions. Thank you for listening to my talk, and I'm happy to answer any questions.